to join the Fever and what's special about this opportunity for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm really excited. I had some stint there at Golden State and it was a great time. So yeah, went over, played with Australia, won a gold there, and that was great. So just to be back in the W and have another crack is really exciting. Really grateful for this opportunity here with the Fever and just excited.
A player who was in China, halfway across the world, received an incredible call from the Indiana Fever just weeks after she had destroyed them with clutch three-pointers. They signed former competitor Chloe Bibby to a high-stakes 7A contract because their star player, Caitlin Clark, was out due to injury, and the team's hopes of winning a championship were rapidly dwindling. However, this wasn't merely a last-ditch effort to cover a roster place. It was a calculated risk that exposed a covert scheme to address the team's most deadly weakness. The one thing that could make all the difference is this signing. The tale of how it occurred is much more bizarre than you may imagine.
Breaking news, Chloe Bibby, who was recently on the Golden State Valkyries, has been signed to the Indiana Fever. This is not a huge surprise to me. I have mentioned it in multiple videos. She was doing really well with the Valkyries. I think she was only with them for about 5 games, while a lot of their players went over to Eurobasket.
This story starts in a hotel room in China, halfway across the world, rather than in Indianapolis, when Chloe Bibby, an Australian forward, received the call that would alter her life. She was enjoying the wild life of an international basketball star.
The main thing I remember about Chloe was the fact that she could shoot, right? That's the main thing I remember about her. Watching her games with the Valkyries, if y'all don't remember that, she was on the Valkyries. I think she played for the preseason and she got signed again, didn't play like 5 games. She finished with like 42% shooting from the 3. So she could hit, man. She could really hit.
Chloe Bibby, the newest member of the Indiana Fever, her fit and whether she's a long-term fit for the Fever remains to be seen. But on the surface, on paper, it makes a lot of sense. Because this is a team that has been in dire need of, in my opinion, of a stretch 4. And that is what Bibby, skill set wise, is capable of doing. We don't have a huge sample size to work with. Obviously, she had a short spurt with the Valkyries.
She is managing her career abroad while acclimating to several time zones and cultural norms. The next time, she's being called up to play for the WNBA's most scrutinized and followed team. No time was available for processing, packing appropriately, or taking a flight back to Australia for a short break. She left everything behind, took the first flight that was offered, and started the exhausting trek to America. It felt like a haze because the action was so quick. An adrenaline-fueled frenzy of airports and jet lag. It is extremely uncommon to be willing to uproot your entire life in a few hours in order to try your hand at a 7-day contract. It illustrates the Fever's dire need for resilience and hunger. Additionally, it displays a player who has spent her entire career fighting for this moment. However, this wasn't merely a haphazard addition to the roster. The Fever had witnessed her gift firsthand, and they discovered it in the most agonizing manner imaginable.
I remember specifically her shooting. She was shooting that thing, man. She was stretching the floor, and the Indiana Fever needs that. They need somebody that can help stretch that floor, make it more dangerous at that perimeter, make the defense respect that perimeter just as much as they respect the paint presence, right? So she can help with that.
There were a lot of fans where the Fever are too slow. They want to play slow it down, grind it out basketball. Doesn't seem that way. Doesn't seem that way by the player they just signed and the messaging that is going across there. So that has to be reassuring for a lot of the fans. And Chloe Bibby seems to have a good head on her shoulders, a good attitude, and a good approach.
The Indiana Fever were unaware that Chloe Bibby was auditioning for them just weeks prior to that momentous call, playing under a temporary hardship contract with the Golden State Valkyries. She faced the team that would eventually become her home when she took the court. She completely set them on fire. She made critical three-pointers and dropped 12 points in just 24 minutes of play, leaving a lasting impact with her composed, seasoned confidence. Although she was their opponent, she was also solving their biggest on-court issue in real time, right in front of them. The kind of audacious, brazen performance that causes a front desk to take note and mutter, "Why isn't she on our team?" It was one thing to score against them, but BBY provided the precise lethal weapon that was sadly absent from their arsenal. She wasn't merely trying to get a place on the Valkyries. Unaware of it, she was preparing for her future in Indianapolis.
Brianna Turner is over there collecting dust. We need somebody off the bench that can come in with some size and rain threes until Damaris Dantis' shot begins to fall, and we go out and we get one. Chloe Bibby. Last time we saw Chloe Bibby, she dropped 12 points against the Indiana Fever. Wait for it, in her WNBA debut. She shoots over 40% from the field. She shoots over 40% from three.
With all these Wave players, I kept saying there was one player that the Indiana Fever needed to sign, and today it happened. That's right, the Indiana Fever have officially signed Chloe Bibby. She showed up and showed out with all the teams that she was with in the preseason, especially with the Valkyries. And I kept saying she could spread the floor, she makes the three. She would be a perfect pickup for the Indiana Fever, except they took forever to sign her. So I was like, maybe they're not gonna sign her.
Every opponent has been taking advantage of a critical weakness in the attacking strategy of the Indiana Fever. Defenses can collapse inward, erecting a wall around the hoop and stifling the attack when the amazing Aaliyah Boston dominates the paint. They've been in desperate need of a real stretch four, a player who can force defenders to be honest and drain threes from the outside, freeing up valuable room for everyone else. The missing component of the puzzle is Chloe Bibby at this point. Her three-point shooting percentage during her brief appearance with the Valkyries was an astounding 42.1%. That is not only a good statistic, it is a game-changing one. The secret that might unleash the full potential of Clark on the drive and Boston in the post is her ability to hit from deep consistently, turning a predictable attack into an unstoppable one. Even though her WNBA stats are remarkable considering how few minutes she played, they don't fully capture her personality. You have to consider what she was doing when she wasn't in the spotlight in America to fully see why her signing is such a potential game share.
Where were you when you got the news or got the call that the Fever were picking you up?
I was in China.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how quickly were you, like, did you just scramble mode then coming over to the States, like pack a bag and go?
Well, yeah, I was already in, so I went from San Francisco to China, and so then I didn't really get to go back to Australia. So just from China, I was like, well, I already have some stuff packed, so then just come back over here, back to America. So yeah, it was good. It all happened pretty fast, but as I said, super grateful.
Chloe Bibby was quietly developing a covert resume as a global force prior to rejoining the WNBA. She was dominating abroad, even though many American fans might not have recognized who she was. She wasn't merely a supporting player for Gorów Fapersky in Poland's premier professional league. She averaged an incredible 20.9 points and 5.9 rebounds per game, earning her the title of league's most valuable player. Her numbers were even more impressive when she faced the top players in Europe in the coveted Euro Cup. 22 points, 2.2 steals, and 7.7 rebounds per game. These are not merely reliable figures. These are superstar-level numbers that demonstrate her ability to lead an offense and support a squad. She wasn't merely a role player awaiting a promotion. She was a true star, perfecting her art on the global scene in preparation for the day when she would finally be recognized. However, earning prizes abroad is one thing. A distinct ego and mindset are needed to fit in with a team that includes a megastar like Caitlin Clark. The timing of this signing becomes extremely complex at that point.
I can go.
Well, yeah, I was already in, so I went from San Francisco to China, and so then I didn't really get to go back to Australia. So just from China, I was like, well, I already have some stuff packed, so then just come back over here, back to America. So yeah, it was good. It all happened pretty fast, but as I said, super grateful for the opportunity.
Does it still feel chaotic now that you've been doing the team for a day, or do you feel like a little settled now?
I feel a little bit settled. I have had a lot of sleep, which is great, so I think I've got over the jet lag a little bit, so feeling good.
You had the chance to go and play against this favorite team.
Yeah.
What kind of your impressions then, and how do you feel like you can fit into what they do?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, really physical team, tough, fast-paced, and I like that fast, style. So I think that suits me a lot.
This decision is made at a time when the Fever are experiencing a great deal of uncertainty and circulating rumors. Due to a persistent groin injury, Caitlin Clark is now out of commission, creating a huge void in the lineup and putting a great deal of strain on the other players. Meanwhile, former All-Star forward Brianna Turner, a veteran, has been noticeably gathering dust on the bench, raising awkward concerns regarding the coaching choices and internal dynamics of the squad. BBY enters this difficult situation by agreeing to a short-term, 7-day hardship contract, which puts her future in jeopardy. Is she merely a temporary fix to help them get through Clark's absence? Or is this a crucial tryout for a long-term squad position? A move that might force another player out and indicate a significant change in the team's approach. Bibby is under constant scrutiny in this situation, with every minute of her play being examined. Coach Stephanie White, however, is not taking her integration lightly. Her plan is surprisingly straightforward and extremely clear.